Y'all probably remember these. What's that?
V8.
That's the female. Do you remember the female? Yeah. Remember the female? Yeah. All of our male was condensed to this size. This is a cartoon that came out then that the sailor has Hirohito in his bag, on his back. This is after Japan surrendered. And this is, some of you probably have this, but I have it in a big frame at home.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody have one of these? Wars on Allied forces given ceasefire orders. MacArthur is in charge. The bloodiest conflict in all human history comes to an end with Joust accepting unconditional surrender. Emperor prepared to stop fighting. Yay. Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah. Time
That's
covers.
the Time magazine. That came in condensed form. And there's a lot in here about, there's Rita Hayworth.
She should have been larger.
She should have been on the front, shouldn't she?
Yeah.
Let's see what else they have. Did any of you save any of this stuff? Do you remember what these were? You had to have these to buy groceries.
Ration cards.
Oh, wow. Y'all don't remember. How many of you remember these? These are, what were they called? They're coupons. They would tear off so many of these for a sack of sugar or coffee or whatever. This is what, when you wrote a letter to someone in the Army, this is the kind of letter, envelope that it would be sent in. All the mail was condensed into lower, smaller areas so that they have more room for it.
Maybe we need to go back to that. Post wouldn't be so high. I said maybe we need to go back to that. Our postage wouldn't be so high.
That's a Flying Fortress School certificate that my husband received for training for the B-29. And here's a poem that I wrote about World War II. Oh, you want me to hold it?
No, you're comfortable. I don't mind holding it.
Okay.
It's bothering me.
World War II was started with a sneak attack by Japanese bombers and planes on track. In Pearl Harbor, our men were killed and our ships were sunk, while some were on duty and some were in their bunk. FDR, y'all know who FDR was? FDR declared war on Japan that same day. Every able-bodied man was soon on his way. They came from the country, the city, and the town. On buses and trains, they were boot camp bands. Did y'all put that? Everybody plunged in to do their part. Patriotism was at its best, and it came from the heart. Army bases and naval stations were built from shore to shore. Factories were changed to make guns and planes by the score. Letters were reduced. I'll show you those. Letters were reduced and called what? B-mail. You remember that B-mail? By the time they reached our men, the news was stale. To buy anything, you had to have a ration book. That's what these were called.
Ration cards.
The ration book. Everybody had to have one of these. How many of you had one of these? You did if you ate. To buy anything, you had to have a ration book. Without the little coupons, there was nothing to cook. Not a car was built in 1943, 1943, 1944 or 1945, that business was dead. Pennies were no longer copper, but they were made from lead. You remember those little black pennies? Coffee and sugar were hard to find. There was always a need to stand in line. Young women took their little babies across the land just to have a few minutes to be with their man. War raged for 4 years on both sides of the Atlantic until the atomic bomb was dropped on Japan that caused the panic. The world was no longer safe and free. Many built bomb shelters in their backyard for a place to flee. D-Day was the time when Germany surrendered. On the Missouri and the Pacific, war with Japanese ended. Some of man's inventions shouldn't make him proud. Since World War II, we've lived under a cloud. We must live in peace in every land, or risk extinction of modern man. This is one with sort of a family thing, so I thought maybe it would fit some of your families. Life in the 40s. Along came a war known as World War II. A lot of money, allotments of money to my brothers helped us see us through. They were rationed, they were stationed in the military all over the earth. The money from the government helped us to increase our worth. Mama put food on the table and bought a little home. My brothers came back and used the GI loan to get a college degree to give them a start. President Truman said, "I'll help you if you do your part." He was criticized and maligned and torn to shreds. When he went down in history, he turned many heads. Through the Marshall Plan, he saw that many people all over Europe were fed. With his help, many more would have suffered and bled. Japan surrendered to him, and Germany was defeated. We pray to the Lord that such a war will never be repeated. Truman was a little man and not very tall, but in the United States of America, he stands above them all.
Thank you. And you wrote those. You wrote those two, didn't you? You wrote those two. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.